Whenever I eat something, I like to load up Netflix and to watch Peep Show in the background, because it's brilliant. At this point I know the episode's off by heart, and it's just comfort viewing for me, but I swear it does make my beans taste better. But sadly, it is a show only available on Netflix for people in the UK, which is a huge shame. Which is where this video's sponsor, NordVPN, comes in. With a choice of 5,506 servers in 59 different countries, it won't just help you to evade tracking by tunneling your web traffic through another IP, but it will also let you view Peep Show on Netflix, even if you're not from the UK. Simply choose a server in a particular country and you'll gain exclusive access to content from that country. As well as this, there are security and anonymity benefits to using a VPN to browse the web. Right now they're having their final 2-year sale. The 2-year plan currently costs less than $90, and using the link in this video's description you'll get an extra month free. The skin market has gone through a bit of a depression recently, so I figured now would be a good time to ask, how much would it cost to buy one of every skin in the game? Obviously I can't cover every weapon in the game, that would be an enormous undertaking, even for the three of us. But I'll be taking a look at the main rifles. On one side is the AK-47, which is a massively popular weapon. On the other, the CTs have two M4s, and it's interesting to see how this split affects the pricing and popularity of those skins. So let's find out how much it costs to buy one of every one of these skins. Or rather, we'll find out how difficult it is to figure out such a thing. Do you buy just one of each skin? What about stat track varieties? What about souvenirs? Do you want the best condition, the rarest? Or is the cheapest good enough? Anyway, I think I'll cover most of these variations in this video. Let's roll, lol. Let's start by covering every skin in every condition in normal, stat track and souvenir, where possible. AKs alone would set you back just under $79,000. M4A4s would cost almost $75,000, and the M4A1Ss will only cost you $29,000. In total, $182,000. Not bad. I got all of these prices from the Steam market, apart from where there was obviously just one seller trying their luck with a ridiculously high price. In which case I would use the skin price listed on CS Money's wiki, since these estimates seemed more reasonable. I've highlighted these ones in colour so that you know that these skins either weren't obtainable from the Steam market, or that the prices listed on there simply weren't representative of the prices they're being sold for. So what to take away from this? Well, it is interesting to know that you can get every skin variety for these three weapons in CSGO for just the price of a small house. I was surprised to see the M4A4s costing almost as much as the AKs do here, but upon closer inspection, it isn't surprising since the infamous M4A4 Howl skin alone costs $60,000 in all of its obtainable varieties. This is what it would cost if we exclude the Howl skin. How can we make this endeavour more affordable? Let's just focus on getting one of each skin possible. We'll ignore the stat track and souvenir, but we'll get each skin in the least wear possible. In other words, we'll get factory new unless that isn't possible, in which case we'll look to minimal wear for that skin, and so on. Doing this, every AK skin costs $18,000. The M4A4 costs $11,000, and the M4A1S costs just over $7,000. Total amount for all three, just over $36,000. And again, if it wasn't for the Howl, then the M4A4 would be the cheapest of the three weapons to buy all the skins of. It's almost as though the M4A4 Howl skin is so valuable that it effectively devalues every other skin for the weapon. Or perhaps people just don't like the M4A4s that much. Now this was surprising. To get the best wear level for every stat track skin available, it doesn't cost a lot more than the normal skins do. $41,000 will cover it, compared with just $36,000 for all the non-stat track skins. Which you might be surprised about given how much more expensive stat track skins generally are. But the answer is quite simple, and disappointing. Many skins aren't available in stat track condition in the first place. If the skin is available from a standard case, it can come in stat track. But if that skin is from a collection, it will only be available in normal and sometimes souvenir. So that's why getting every stat track skin doesn't cost much more than the normal ones, even though each skin alone is considerably more expensive. And if we remove the Howl skin, it changes things massively, since of the $20,300 spent on M4A4 skins, over $17,000 of that was spent on the single factory new StatTrack Howl skin. Valve, please fix. Let's change our approach. What if we don't care about skin condition? What if we just want to get one of each as cheaply as possible? This doesn't mean that every skin you'll get will be battle scarred. Several skins have well-worn or even field tested as their cheapest variety, so you still end up with some quite respectable looking skins if you do decide to buy them this way. In total, that's $2,300 for AK skins, $6,500 for the M4A4, and $421 for the M4A1S. $9,200 in total for all the StatTrak skins as cheaply as possible. And about 2/3 of that is just for the HAL skin alone, which costs just shy of $6,000. Removing that one skin from this chart changes everything. The cost of the AK now dominates the pie chart and drops the price down to a relatively affordable $3,300. But obviously, you're not just missing out on the HAL skin, but also every skin that isn't available in StatTrak in the first place. So let's forget about StatTrak for now and just go about owning every skin as cheaply as possible. One of every AK skin ever made will only cost you $4,000. The M4A1S, $3,000, and the M4A4, $4,500. $11,500 in total. Like I said before, many of these won't just be the lowest battle-scarred quality. Some of them will be field-tested, and a few will be well-worn. There's even a factory new hot rod skin in there, which at the time of doing this was the cheapest quality you could get for it. Getting the cheapest of each skin helps you to avoid manipulated prices where it's just one or two sellers trying to artificially inflate the rarer condition types. And yes, let's separate the HAL skin from the rest of the M4A4 finishes to show just how much it's inflating the total price for that weapon. Remove it and it makes the M4A4 a relatively cheap gun to collect, provided you have low enough standards. What is the average price of a skin? Obviously, covert skins should in general cost more than the classified ones do, and classified more than the restricted, and so on. So I thought that while I had all this data in front of me, I'd get the average cost of each skin for each grade, just for fun. Doesn't matter if it doesn't make much sense, it's still interesting to know. Or at least I think it's interesting. As you'd expect, the average cost of a skin goes down as the grade decreases. But on average, StatTrak skins cost less than their standard counterpart. That doesn't seem to make any sense, but again, it's because the most valuable skins are unavailable in StatTrak in the first place. If there's a skin that's available in both, then of course the StatTrak will be more expensive. But even factoring all this in, I was still surprised to see that the average price of StatTraks appeared to be so low compared with the standard skins. And the HAL continues to be a problem by squashing the colour bands and by hogging the screen, so let's just remove it for a better look at the rest of the data. There we go. There's so much cool stuff you can do with this data. This is what happens if you list the skins from cheapest to most expensive and colour code them based on their grade. For this, I chose the cheapest price for each skin because I felt this was less prone to manipulation, but you can do what you like with it. This all shows how dependent on just a few expensive skins this entire analysis is. Ignore the top few and owning the rest of the skins is a much more manageable pursuit. I would say there's not much more to say about this here, and that this graph is more about being interesting than about deep analysis. But that pretty much applies to this whole video, doesn't it? I often found that well-worn was more expensive than the field-tested and battle-scarred varieties either side of it. I'm sure there are reasons for this, but since for this video I'm only interested in the cheapest prices or the prettiest looking variants, I can ignore this and move on. Sometimes there are skins where somebody has clearly bought up everything available and is trying to boost the price up, but nobody yet has bitten. Just because that's the only price it's being sold for doesn't mean that's what it's worth. An item is, after all, only worth what people are willing to pay for it. A silly example, I could get a stone and put it on eBay for £1 billion. Sure, if you wanted that specific stone, then it would cost you £1 billion, but you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody willing to spend that sort of money on it, and it would be unlikely to end up in the Guinness Book of Records as being the most expensive stone in the world. But this sort of thing becomes a real problem when trying to work out how much every skin costs. Take the HAL skin for example. The pricing kind of breaks down here because so few are available that the seller is free to name their own price. So going to a skin site and searching for a new HAL skin, I can see that one's going for $3,800 and another one for $5,000. That's a lot of variation right there. But if they don't sell, then perhaps it isn't worth either of these prices. So it really depends on how you define value, and it's why I'm happy to use the suggested price for these skins instead. And that is why figuring out the value of the rifles in CSGO is such a difficult thing to do. Because if you want to buy one of every skin available, you'll often get horribly ripped off by a lone seller trying their luck. But I refuse to give those people credit, which is why I've opted to cover the reasonable price for each skin in this video instead. I learned to be wary of these sorts of markets back in 2013, but for something entirely different. Bitcoin was shooting up in value and loads of other cryptocurrencies were also appearing. On one of the exchanges, I discovered something interesting. There was one of these coins that would only cost a few £100s to buy up the entire thing. Every single one that was available. So I did just that, for science, and the price shot up. Suddenly everybody started speculating on the forums about what was going on. Had somebody misclicked? Had there been some news on that coin that nobody else had heard about yet? All the coins I had just bought up, I then put back on the market at much higher prices, and to my amazement, people started buying them. Here I was assuming everybody knew more about this stuff than I did, when actually, many of them knew even less. And what happened then was that people who owned the same coin but on other exchanges cashed in on the arbitrage by putting theirs on the market just below my prices, and the price quickly returned to normal again. Turns out, unless you own a vast majority of an asset, others who own them will just see the price going up and will cash in on it at your expense if you decide to pull a silly stunt like this. I didn't end up making all my money back, but it taught me a valuable lesson about how fickle markets can be, and how easy it is to exploit them if you're rich enough, or foolish enough, or smart enough. Depends on the outcome really, doesn't it?